Welcome to the Stoic Responder Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Healy. As a special agent who spent more than 15 years conducting large-scale fraud, money laundering, and public corruption investigations, Stoic philosophy provided a mindset edge that became the foundation of my professional success. My mission today is to share those same ancient mindset lessons with you so that you can turn obstacles into opportunities and adversity into advantage. Time to muster up. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoic Responder Podcast. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We're on to December, month 12, last month of 2024. And if I'm being honest, this year has flown by very rapidly. A lot of things to look back on and to learn lessons from and to celebrate as we are moving forward towards the new year. So like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving break. I appreciate you bearing with me as I took some time off to spend with friends and family in the Sunshine State of Florida. I had a great time with the kids, had a great time at Thanksgiving, had a great time visiting. Got to see my best friend, came up for Thanksgiving, and we've been friends for almost 40 years. So it's kind of cool that those friendships maintain and that we get to share holidays together and kind of grow old together at this point in our lives. So had a great time, and appreciate you giving me some grace and letting me spend some time without producing a podcast. But we're back and got 4 episodes for you this week. And I'm trying to kind of cater these episodes over this week and next before I go out for a break for Christmas. I'm trying to cater these episodes around concepts that I think are going to be useful going into the new year. Now, I know everybody sets these big, bold, audacious New Year's goals. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about that, about what the Stoics thought about, not necessarily about New Year's, but although Seneca had some thoughts on that, but really how the Stoics would approach resolutions. And, and I think the bottom line is, and like I said, we'll get deeper into this, but resolutions don't mean really anything. It's the idea of acta non verba, right? Resolutions are verba. Verba meaning words. That's, the Latin for words. Acta meaning action. So resolutions are words, not action. And the Stoics were big advocates on acta non verba. In other words, action, not words. They wanted you to go forth and do. They expected you to make the most out of things. Everybody's always talking about what it is to be a good man. Marcus Aurelius told us, be one. Stop talking about it and do it. And so I think the Stoics would tell us that, the first of the year is just like any other day. And any other day can be a day when you begin, and any other day can be a day when it ends. And the question then is, what am I doing with the time that I have been gifted? How am I expressing gratitude for the time that I have been gifted? How am I maximizing the time that I have been gifted? Why would I put off and wait until January 1st when I can start right now today? But we're going to get into some of those concepts as we approach the new year, because I understand we live in a modern society. We don't live in the time of the great Stoics. And so we still have some expectations around these sort of arbitrary dates on the calendar, and we may as well approach it with a head full of steam and use some of that Stoic wisdom to lean into that modern concept of the new beginning. All right, so getting into it, today's episode, which is episode 106, is titled, You Were Made for This. Let me get started with a quote from Marcus Aurelius. In the morning, when thou risest unwillingly, let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being. Why then am I dissatisfied if I am going to do the things for which I exist and for which I was brought into the world? Or have I been made for this, to lie in bedclothes and keep myself warm? Again, that's Marcus Aurelius. And as I've said before, with Marcus Aurelius, you have to keep in mind that he was writing not to you, not to me, not to an audience at all, in fact, but to an audience of one, and that is to himself. This was a journal entry in the journal that became known later on as Meditations. He's reminding himself, in the morning, you don't want to get up. I know you want to sleep in, you want to stay under the covers and stay warm. You don't want to go out and deal with the problems that you have to deal with. You don't want to go out and deal with the Germanic tribes that are threatening your northern border, or the Parthian Empire on your eastern border. You don't want to get up and deal with the Antonine Plague that is ravaging your kingdom. You don't want to get up and deal with your former best friend who is now rebelling against you and trying to usurp your authority. You don't want to get up and deal with the Senate. You don't want to get up and deal with the debt. You don't want to get up and deal with any of these things, but this is what you are made for. You are a human being, and in Marcus's case, perhaps the most powerful human being on the earth at the time. So how can you be dissatisfied when you wake up in the morning as is intended by God, by nature? You should go forth into the world and do those things that are expected of you, because that's what you were made for. Not to lie in bed, not to keep warm, not to huddle under the covers, but to go out and attack the day and conquer it. That's a reminder to himself. And he talks a little bit about this. He talks about nature. He talks about the birds and the ants and the bees busying themselves with their daily tasks. They don't lie in bed and think, oh, I'm going to stay cuddled up and snuggled up in these this warm cave or hive or, whatever it is that I don't know what a bird lives in, nest. They get up and they go about the work of their day. They go about feeding their offspring. They go about building, and securing their shelter, their home. They go about doing those things that nature intends them to do. And you and I are no different. And Marcus is reminding himself of that. So what's he saying here? You're not a morning person? No worries. Even the emperor of Rome here didn't want to get out of bed. But again, he understood what we all must understand, that we have work to do and it doesn't get done under the covers. You got a stressful job? Absolutely. Especially if you're in law enforcement, especially this time of year. Maybe you're missing family gatherings, you're missing important events at your kids' schools, end of semester stuff. That happens. I've been there. I've worked Thanksgiving. I've worked Christmas. I know what that's like. But imagine for a moment that you're Marcus Aurelius. You're camped among your legions. You're on the banks of the Danube River at your empire's northernmost boundary. Imagine the weight of the responsibility as you lead a military campaign to push back the Germanic tribes who have been raiding and invading your homeland. Imagine knowing how you act and what you say and do here will echo in eternity. And how tempting the covers must have been for a man whose responsibilities awaiting him each morning had that kind of weight behind them. And yet still he rose. Because that's what nature and duty compelled him to do. They compelled him to rise. See, Marcus did not give himself a choice in the morning. He understood that he controlled his actions and that he must be disciplined in executing his mission, task, and purpose. So must you, so must I. We're all the accumulation of our habits. Those habits can either serve us or they can impair us. They can create discipline or they can create sloth. What matters here is which habit we cultivate, because that is what serves us and that is what leads us to do our duty. When I think about this quote, this Marcus Aurelius passage from Meditations, I think about, the modern day philosopher, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who was not writing in Meditations, but was writing on his Twitter account some years ago when he referred to the snooze button on your alarm clock as the quote unquote bitch button. And if you look it up, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but he basically said, don't hit the bitch button. And by framing it that way, instead of the snooze button, I don't think I've hit the snooze button since I read that quote. Like, basically I don't need like I'm picturing the Rock sitting there at the side of my bed, staring at me when the snooze goes or when the alarm goes off and I go to hit snooze. And the Rock staring at me and saying, get out of bed and get to work, you little bitch. The gym's not, gym's cold, but that's where you got to be. I'm picturing that in my head when that snooze button is tempting me. And it's a similar, though less eloquent, sentiment to what Marcus Aurelius puts forth here. You might rise unwillingly, but rise you must. So let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being. Why should I be dissatisfied? It's what I'm here to do. I'm going to do the things for which I exist and for which I was brought into this world. And I'm going to do them well. If you take that attitude into your day, you're going to cultivate more discipline and less sloth. You're going to accomplish more and leave less on the table. And that's really ultimately what it's all about. Let me leave you with a journal prompt, get you on your way. It's actually more of a action item than a journal prompt today. Thinking of both Marcus Aurelius and The Rock. Let's eliminate the snooze button this week. Let's eliminate the snooze button for the rest of the calendar year. Let's stop hitting that snooze button. Make a pledge to yourself. This is your action item for the remainder of the week. Don't hit that snooze button. Get up early, even if it's unwillingly. Get up early and start attacking your day. Today, as I'm recording this, I kind of tried to put that in practice. I'm coming back from East Coast time to Central time. And after 2 weeks on the East Coast, my body is, even though I'm living in Central time, my body is sort of set up now on East Coast time. And I thought, here's a great opportunity for me to take advantage of this. I was accustomed to getting up earlier there because of the time change. So why don't I get up? Why don't I just keep my body on East Coast time? Why don't I just adjust? Go to bed a little bit earlier, wake up a little bit earlier, and take advantage of that time in the morning to attack my day. And that's exactly what I did today. I was able to get a whole bunch of stuff done. Kids' lunches packed. I went for a walk with Stella the sheepadoodle, all before the sun came up. Got some steps in, got some activities in, all because I eliminated the temptation to hit that snooze button and got up a little bit earlier. Unwillingly, but done nonetheless. So, folks, I got 3 more episodes for you this week. Let me leave you with this, if you don't mind. I am not having a sort of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday type stuff going on, but I do have a book out there that I think would make a wonderful Christmas gift. It is called In Valor, 365 Stoic Meditations for First Responders. You can find it on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, anywhere you get your books. If you want to message me this week, or next week about getting a signed copy out to someone that you love or care about, please reach out. I can get that in the mail and get that off in time for Christmas. If you get those requests out to me this week or next, we can make an arrangement for payment via PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Square, whatever it is that you feel most comfortable with. I've got all sorts of options for payment, and I can get it for you for less than the cost of retail. So if you're interested in getting a copy signed for someone that you care about as a Christmas gift, shoot me a message this week or next, or get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, anywhere you get your books, and order a copy today of In Valor, 365 Stoic Meditations for First Responders. Folks, as I mentioned before I left for my Thanksgiving break, I am going to be, after the new year, moving everything over to Substack. I've been hosting on a different platform, on the different hosting platform that charges me a monthly fee to platform the podcast. Substack actually will pay me to host over there. So it's kind of a no-brainer that I move the entire operation over to Substack. So if you haven't done so already, please head on over to thestoicresponder.substack.com. Sign up so that you make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes. You will get the episodes directly into your email. You can continue to get them however you consume your episodes, because Substack will publish them to those different platforms. But just go ahead and sign up for the stoicresponder.substack.com for absolutely free to make sure you don't miss anything in transition. That's what I got for you, folks. 3 more episodes coming this week. Get out there, live your lives with valor, and until next time, you are out of roll. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, like, rate, and share this podcast so that we can spread the benefits of Stoicism to other first responders. It will only take you a few moments, but it can help us tremendously. Until next time, out of roll.